Like my consultation client, Keith, maybe you've started playing slots with your wife in the last year. Or like my Slots Labs participant, James, you've been gambling at table games for 20 years, but only in the last few years gotten interested in slots. You've watched a lot of my free content and gotten off to a good start, and you're enjoying yourself. But then what? Is that it? No, it isn't. You were on a slots journey, so let me show you the next leg of your journey, or at least point out there is a next leg to the journey. And of course, I'll be taking your questions because this is a live stream. And a special thanks to my moderators for helping out with today's live stream. If you have a question, please use hashtag question. Let me add a banner to the video so you can see it across the bottom. Help out my moderators and I by using hashtag question at the beginning of your live chat comment. That's so we can be sure to spot your question to me instead of comments in the live chat to each other. After all, this is also a community video where friends check in with lots of comments to one another, which is great. So please, if you have a question for me, start your comment with hashtag question. Hello, slots enthusiasts. If you're new, welcome. How these live streams work is I pick a slots topic inspired by your comments and questions and consultations and meetings, and I talk about that slots topic for about 20 minutes and then take your questions until I hit a hard deadline at 2 hours. Don't often go that long, but that's when my voice gives out, or at least starts to. So start asking your questions now, and I see Thomas has, and I'll get to as many of your questions as soon as I can as possible. Every casino, and I want to acknowledge Chuck for his donation, and thank you so much, Chuck. Chuck has given us super chat and of $20.90. He's a regular. And he says, morning all. Great. Yeah. And everybody's saying hi to each other, as you can see. And Paula is my moderator. Slots of Fun is my moderator. TX Texas Tootsie is my moderator. Chuck is my moderator. And it's great to see you all here. Wonderful, wonderful. And I have a visitor on my desk. I know people don't like it. And another donation. Okay, my visitor left. And there may be kitty sightings coming up shortly. Okay. And thank you, Magpie 11. Also another super chat. $20. Winners visualize winning. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see here. And so I will put that away and do this. Okay. Every casino is slightly different. Some of them are very different, but once you start going to a bunch of them, you can see the slight differences. Whether and that's important. That's a part of what we're going to talk about today. Hi Magpie. Hi Cheryl. Hi Thomas. Hi everybody. Shawana. Hi. Every casino is slightly different. That's important. Whether you're a newbie or a slots expert, your task is to learn your casino well, because that's how you win at slots. But the knowledge you're gaining about your casino sometimes goes unnoticed with all the excitement, no matter which slots gambling goal you've chosen. Late last year, I moved to Reno. You can kind of see it out the window. It's a little bright out, as always in Reno, and I hear it's brighter than more bright days in Phoenix. Late last year, I moved to Reno. In the southwest corner of Ohio, where I moved from, there were maybe 5 casinos within about 60 miles. I'm probably being pretty generous there. It was more like, greater than that, 100 miles. Now I have 13 casinos less than 10 miles from my home, and my favorite one is like right there. So Uber 5 miles or less, 3 miles or less. Now I have 13 casinos less than 10 miles from my home. I remember how excited we all were during my Slots IQ membership meeting every Thursday night when a member Magpie 11, told us that they had 39 casinos to choose from on the Las Vegas Strip. We were all so excited, but Magpie 11 was not, which surprised us. And so this live stream topic is a little bit late, but that's, why were we surprised? Because our wish for that many casinos ignored the difficulties of actually having that many to learn and understand, so that we could then move on to the next step of systematic, repeatable wins. In other words, 39 casinos was too much. I know this myself now when I look out of my patio and see so many casinos. Reno has 13, and I've been to 5, 6, and I'm like, wow, it's a lot of Ubering. But not just going. I'll talk a little bit about the process that I've gone through to get to know my casinos, and which is what we're talking about today. So my advice to her during our consultations was to pick a few and focus on them. It's an engineering approach you've perhaps heard of. Yes. How do you get started on a big project, maybe a multi-million-dollar government contract, which all the key industry players are working together over 5 years? I've done that. It gets a little easier with time because I remember I was telling a story to a young engineer a few years ago. The company I worked for was a global business, and they had a factory burned down in the middle of the night in Ireland. And so all the engineers came in the next morning and went, "Oh, I don't have an office anymore." And while that was all being rebuilt, they would just sort of distribute it around the United States and the world. And I remember my friend from Baltimore, a coworker from Baltimore, came in, with this fellow from Ireland, also an engineer. And he was saying, we got this project that was coming up, and I don't, how do we manage to do this? And I said, you make lists. And then I looked at the guy from Ireland, and then you burn it down. And he was like, "Ooh, that was a good one." And I'm like, "Well, I try." So, there's mentoring going on with young engineers who are working so hard and doing so well. But sometimes, multi-million-dollar government or company contracts, you have to sort of like eat an elephant, as they used to say. I don't like to say that. How do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. But I don't like, I like elephants, so I hardly ever use that saying anymore. What we're talking about here is what changes when you get to know your casino well. Everything changes. Whether you're new to slots or not, new casinos, new to you casinos are hard to win at because they're so unknown. And maybe you've been going for a while, but you never considered lifting your head up from the slot machine you're always playing and gone for a walk. What's the biggest intersections? Where are the casino entrances? Is there a parking garage? Is that the main entrance, or is it the ornate entrance like at MGM Grand Detroit, which nobody uses from the street? Is there parking structures where they come in from? And what are you guys doing? Okay. My cats. Is there a food court with slot machines facing people sitting and eating, or is the view blocked off? And so many other landmarks you need to understand about your unique casino. But then in a hot minute, you find the biggest intersection, and now everything changes with your slots play on your slots journey. But you have to adapt to that change. You must realize the consequences of what you learned from your casino and what it means to your future slots play. Do you go straight to that intersection, to the winning slot machine you found there on your last trip, and immediately play maximum bets? Or do you completely forget everything you learned and just do whatever it was that you used to do because that's what you're comfortable with? I found it's usually something in between, especially if you learn the next thing and the next thing, because some of the things you learned on your slots journey will be valuable. Some of them will help you win. Some of them will help you not lose as much, which also counts as better profit. So today's live stream is my attempt to point out to you that you are indeed on a slots journey. On my slots journey, this casino here is Atlantis Casino in Reno. I have been trying to learn it well. I took my own advice and picked one. Now, some of you have made comments about which casino should I choose and some of the prior ownerships and some of the history in Reno, and that was helpful for me to making a choice. But then I'm learning those casinos well. So how do you start to learn a casino? One you're new to, or one that you've been going to for a while but you just don't know it well? And I see some of the comments here. Wow, lots of conversations. Guys, don't do that. I'm gonna squirt you with a water bottle. You're playing around. You're playing around. Yep, that's right. You got it. You're just the thread of the water bottle. They're playing around with the audio wire, so you may have heard some of that. So when I I chose a casino not knowing too much about it. It was helpful information I got from many people, but nevertheless, I had to go and play. And what do you do? Well, for me, as I've done many times, go to a new to me casino, which I never go back to. Usually, I have so many casino trip reports for that sort of thing back when I was working as an aerospace engineer and traveling. And that evening, I'd go to the local casino and write up a review of it if there was anything good to say about it, and not so much if there wasn't, because what's the point? So I've gone to Atlantis not knowing it, and Chuck, I know we drove here. You drove me. I drove 6 hours to Missouri to pick you up, and then you drove the next 26 hours to Reno with all my stuff in a minivan. Not that I had too much in a minivan. And then I was like, okay, I'll take you to the airport, and dropped you off at the airport. And on the way, Chuck was like, well, why don't we just stop in at Atlantis? And I'm like, dude, we just had a marathon 32-hour drive. No. And I'm probably going to regret that for a while, but I really wanted to kind of like process what that casino would be like first. And so now I have. I had put one of the cats in the back room, but I thought they had calmed down. I need to get more entertainment for them. Apparently, they're looking for more things to do, and all they have is to entertain each other is themselves. So I went to Atlantis, and what I choose to do whenever I go to a new to me casino is I will do the 5-spin method. You may have seen my recent video from Choctaw Durant in Oklahoma, where I had one long continuous video, 41 minutes. I shortened it a little bit by speeding up my walking from one section of the casino to another. So it ended up being like 30 minutes, but that was 50 machines on which I played the 5-spin method. And that allowed me to understand 50 machines. And I wasn't just randomly choosing them. I was basing some of the machines, particularly the early ones in that trip. And as I mentioned in the voiceover, I was really tired. I only got like a couple hours sleep that night. And I come from WinStar, where I went at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get to sleep till like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock the morning before. And so I can see when I watched it later, my mistakes. And some of those mistakes were just, play this long row of 50 machines against the wall. And that was not a good choice of highly visible machines as shown in the results, even though if I had, what are you doing? Reaching out, and Emil is reaching underneath the monitor and then like grabbing my keyboard. Don't do that. Chuck says sleep is overrated. Yeah, you would say that. My goodness, 26 hours driving, and if you're going to come around to the front, do that, Cat. Okay, so yes, and so, but that was the beginning of my Atlantis knowledge. Now, having had done that, I'll ignore the cat. Having done that, I found candidate machines, and I have shown you some videos of using the tough love method on them. And really, the number one machine that I found, I will go back to and play. And that's the change that took place because I started at Atlantis with not having very much knowledge of the audience members told me a lot about high limits, but I wanted to, use my $300 bankroll because I'm trying to, most people here use $300 or so. And so it's a little bit, it's not like I'm Brian Christopher taking $10,000 to the casino and, blowing it. He can do that because he makes more than $10,000 from his brand deals. So the point is, I went to Atlantis and I learned, and then I adjusted. And one of the things that I've adjusted is now I have a bunch of machines that potentially would be a good machine. Because I've done the tough love method on it, had interesting results, and that knowledge affects what I will do at that casino. So as you grow to learn your casino, as I am doing, first of 13, or I probably only go to the casinos where I can record, and so that's a couple in Reno already. Lots of good questions I see back and forth. So now things are different, but I have to recognize that things are different. There's a Huff and More Puff machine that is indirectly visible to everybody waiting in line to buy a ticket to go to the buffet. Play that one. There's another machine. People just watch that machine get bonus after bonus, and it really does energize them. And that's the whole point for the casino, making the odds better on that machine as they can. In Nevada, there's a theoretical payout setting limit, a lower limit of 75%, which is really lower than the average of 93%. So it's kind of like there, but it's never used. But there's no upper limit. So casinos are legally allowed to set machines to win. Yeah, not so much Iowa, not so much Pennsylvania, and there's rules, and that's on the gaming regulations. So please understand your gaming regulations. But in Nevada, it's just a matter of finding those machines. There's a budget, and we've talked about that here. And this is part of what you learn about your casino. Which machines? How much of a budget? Is it Soaring Eagle, where it's every end of row machine, or is it at Atlantis Reno, where there's maybe 2-3 machines in the casino, like so many others? And not all the time either. So one of the things I learned, just to help you understand your casino, is I set aside, I have a schedule, I'm working this business, and I set a schedule, and I said, okay, I'm going to go on Wednesdays at noon. Well, it turns out Wednesdays at noon isn't great. So I'm like, all right, so I'm going to have to find, I had been encouraged to go Friday evening. And I have to see if that's something I can work into my schedule and make that change. And if I don't, then I'm hurting myself. And that's part of the whole learning process. So tell me your questions about what you learned from your casino, how you've adjusted to it, because you go from being a newbie to an expert in all of a hot minute. It doesn't take long. I use the 5-spin method to assess the casino when I don't know the casino, and then when I come up upon machines that are like gives me big wins in the first couple of bets at minimum bets, I'm like, well, let's just do this at what my normal bankroll is. My normal bets are. And whether low level or minimum bets, maximum bets, middle of the road bets, and when you go. And when I play that, I see if that is a good machine, and I'll report on it in my casino trip reviews as I have, and you can see those in my website, professorslots.com, there's, can you see my mouse here? It's reviews. So there's more than one type of review, but some of them are casino trip reports. And I want to make more of them as I go to the 13 casinos and an easy flight to Las Vegas, 13 casinos in Reno, and an easy flight to Las Vegas. But there's always more to do. So yes. Right. So I want to also tell you that, improve your slots performance in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. Right there is the URL for that, professorslots.com/30 days. You get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free to my Slots IQ membership, where you get community support and accountability. Learn more about free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants at professorslots.com/30 days. I also want to mention that Slots Labs is the first offering of Slots Labs is going great. I think, and one of the things that not to get too into it, I am coming up with another product for you, which is the estimated must hit by, which if you don't know about it, I need to explain it to you. Progressive jackpots have line hits. Progressive slot machines have line hits and progressive jackpots. Majors, grands, megas, and those constantly climb. If your casino does that, there's a few that don't quite have that. And it's important to know this distinction, which is why I need to write all this up and present it to you. I will do that, but I'm going to be selling for $500 the estimated must hit by for a few slot machines. That are common to a lot of casinos, so that you can then play it to win that win that progressive jackpot. Now, $500 per machine is a lot. So in the next course, the next offering of Slots Labs, because there's only 20 people, it's not self-paced, it's instructor-led. In the next offering of this, which I'll be making available, haven't set a date, sometime in March, likely, and maybe towards the end. And if you go to professorslots.com/SL, that is where you sign up for the waitlist. The waitlist is free. But if you are interested in Slots Labs, the next offering, I will ask those people first. And then if we hit our limit of probably 20 participants, I'm still working on whether or not it would work out to have just a little bit more than 20. Sign up at professorslots.com/SL. You can also find it, guys, you can also find it at professorslots.com. And if you go to, can you see this right here? Let me make that a little bigger. No. If you go to your plan to win at professorslots.com, and if you go down to Slots Labs, which is in development because the first class has been really helpful, you click on this waitlist and you will be informed first. And if it doesn't fill up immediately, then then I will not tell anybody else, because we're good. Yeah, no need to. So if you are interested, please fill out professorslots.com/SL to get on the wait list. Okay, so we have questions, and let's go through some of the questions. I hope you understand that you're on a slots journey and that you're learning, and that you have to update your slots play based on what you learned. And I think some of the first questions were from Thomas. And Thomas says, managing Bankroll. I don't see a question here, but I think the next comment was a question, so we'll see how this goes. Managing Bankroll. Personally, I try to. Did I not? I don't know. Did I? I want to thank Jason. There he is. I don't believe I did. Jason, thank you. Jason is at Firekeepers, free play for your next visit. Thanks for the videos. Thank you, Jason. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. You're great, as we've discussed. Okay, so Thomas's question was, or rather comment first, then question, was managing bankroll. Personally, I try to never cash my tickets until I am leaving the casino. It's at least means I leave with some of my money. Yeah. If your goal is to leave with some of your money, and people, casinos are like what roller coaster parks. You go with money and it's not like you make it, and if that's what you want, then fine. But a lot of people are like, well, I'd like to leave with some of my money and maybe even try to make a living at slots. The whole gauntlet, the whole spectrum of possibilities here. So what you just to point out, this, I think, but just to point out to everybody else, what you're doing is setting a loss limit. You have a loss limit technique, which is you don't cash out your tickets until the end. Now, there's a couple of things, some big, some small, that help you, which is that if you cashed out each individual ticket, I know it's not much money, but sometimes there's change left over and your casino doesn't give out change. And so you have to sort of donate the remaining anything less than $1. But if you cash out your tickets once, then potentially if you got 10 of those, that could be $10, up to $10. And so, that cashing out once means that you are able to accumulate those pennies, that change, and so you only have to do that once. But yes, that is a way for you to keep your keep your money until the end. And there's other loss limits. There's people kind of like don't notice that they have loss limits. But there's a couple of things you can do, like only putting $20 into a machine, or only putting $100 into a machine, not your whole bankroll. And that's a way to limit. I'm done here when that goes away, or I'm done here when that goes over a certain amount, and then I have a cutoff. And so loss limits are intimately tied with preserving gains, which is two money management techniques, bankroll management techniques. And so it's great to see that you have that. And I was chatting with Paula about hers, or rather that I had seen hers when I was at the Soaring Eagle with her. So the question that Thomas has is, how much time is to spend? I find that I find more than 3 hours winning or losing, things just go downhill, the odds catching up with the even on good machines. Possibly, certainly. If you randomly choose slot machines, then you're going to have the average result. But if you are not choosing random, spinning in a circle with your eyes closed and then pointing and then going to that machine, that means that you are selecting machines that could be said to be winners, because in states that allow that sort of thing to happen, in casino marketing of doing that, we could talk about all the reasons why that exists, but it's really obvious. It's really obvious. And so, if you want to randomly choose machines, then you could very well end up being the random part of playing slots, but you don't have to be that way. And so if your knowledgeable selection can improve your odds. But I think what's happening with you is, as I don't know if Flip is here, but Flip was talking about his 150 or so hand pays that started after he started following me at WinStar, and that became difficult. It was not easy to begin with, but then he had a cold and he went. And that was really tough for him, because he realized how much of an effort that he was making. So now he limits himself to 2 hours, and he doesn't go when he's got a cold. Getting tired matters. If you are, an expert in anything, digging ditches, spreadsheet analysis, aerospace engineer, you do better work when you're less tired. Except for Chuck. Chuck apparently does better when he's a little bit tired, and it's through 2 o'clock in the morning, but that's personal stuff I know about Chuck. So being tired can hurt you. Yeah. Next question. Lots of hellos, lots of hellos. It's great to see this. Right. So Thomas makes a good point. He says there was some comments back and forth, and Thomas was talking about collecting his vouchers and cashing them out all just at once at the end. It works for me, Paula. Thomas says it also serves to tell when I've gone through the amount I wanted to risk. Of course, I maybe miss out on that $1 billion payout, but I like that spending the rent money. Absolutely. I had a neighbor, and I don't mean to insult him, but my neighbor back in Ohio was like, I've got $100. Help me make it $1 million. And I'm like, what? What? And so we have to sort of let go of the dream, a 50% return. And that's part of what I have to inform people of. If you follow all my techniques and you understand your casino well, I found a 30% return to a 50% return is reasonable. And I mean, if you take $100, you leave with $130 or $150, somewhere in between. That's doing well. If it's $1,000 that you come in with, it's leaving with $1,300 or $1,500. You come in with $10,000, it's leaving with $13,000 and $15,000 on average over the year. And try not to have a bad day where you just lose your plan and just spend it. All these things go into a 30 to 50% return, which I've accomplished myself. Next question from Sherry. Hi, Sherry. Does stopping the reels change the outcome versus letting reels stop on their own? So a couple of things going on here. First off, it doesn't change the odds. What was going to happen in slot machines was determined when you place the bet. And if you have choices later, even then, it was chosen when you place the bet. So stopping it doesn't matter. But however, letting the reels continue and come to a halt on their own is a loss limit strategy. Because if you stop it, you make the bet faster, sooner, and that could end up being a lot of bets. Now, I find that what I do, everything except my videos and my demonstration videos, I just stop, bet. If I win something, I just stop it. Or actually, if I don't win anything, I stop it. If I make a bet, I stop it immediately. But if I stop it immediately, sometimes I win, in which case I have to stop that roll up, they call it, the sound and sequence of just counting up the credits. And so sometimes I start it, and then I have to stop it, and then I have to stop the roll up. So start, stop, stop, start, stop, stop, start, stop, stop. And I've played for hours at a time, and my arm has gotten tired. So I switched to the other arm. And that was kind of weird. So you can let it play out, and then you can have it as a loss limit method where you're not spending as much because you're enjoying watching it play out, both letting it finish, but also letting any wins count up. Now, when I found a good time to play on my slot machines that I've worked hard to find, and we've talked about how to find it, that is, I find, what was I going to say? I find that if it's a good time, I want to make as many bets as possible, because it's told me it's a good machine. The results are great. And I know when it comes up on the next half hour or next quarter hour or next hour, somebody's programming this last week to switch over. And so I want to get as many wins in, and then keep and watch it very carefully on the hour, on the quarter hour, on the half hour, to see if suddenly it's not winning anymore. So that's why personally I will make quick bets, rapid tapping, whatever people want to call it. There's a bunch of different words, fast tapping, and so because I want to get as many wins in when it's a good time to win on that machine. Otherwise, but so I just want to give you a caveat there. And all this is part of learning your casino well, whether or not that's a good time or not, or that's a good machine or not. But just in general, letting the reels continue is a loss limit method. Yeah, and works great too. Let's see, Serenity, it looks as if I'm not the only one who's missed the Saturday live streams. Glad the professor is healthy and back in business. Yeah, I've been supporting the Slots Labs course a great deal, and I would like to get back to regular Saturday live streams. Maybe this is my attempt to do that, begin again. Last year, about the middle of the year, I went to 3 live streams a week, but it was important that I do that for a while. I have a bunch of articles that I now have from ordered by interest that had started as live streams. I only make the last month available on live streams, and then I unlist them unless you have the link or the email or the post on Facebook. You can still watch them, and so that is what I what I would try to do is balance more podcasts, one live stream a week. I'll try to get back to that. But thank you. Yeah, there was a terrible cold at the beginning of January. I'm like, what is this? I haven't been cold in years. And Jeff was talking about the gamble box. It had some mixed results, maybe bridge to recycling your bankroll, going to 5 wins, New Buffalo today. Have a great trip. Be safe. I think it's still pretty cold, not minus 30. I'd heard in the Northeast. I'm from Michigan, and my sister has a snow removal lawn care business. So it can be quite cold when she has to go out and plow. So yeah, I hope that you have a safe trip. If the sun's shining, that's great. Slots of Fun is talking about some answers. So it's not just me answering. You'll find some of my moderators will also provide some information of what they think, and they're very knowledgeable people. Yeah, from all over the country. Let's see. So one of the things that we've been talking about a little bit is how bad was January. And January is traditionally the worst time of the year. It's kind of the slots is a little bit seasonal. Once you start noticing, it may seem a little subtle, but once you start knowing your casino well, you can start to see the seasons. Yes, January has been pitiful, but we're not in January anymore. Yeah. And the next big uprising improvement will be when school gets out in April. And then people start recovered from spending money at Christmas, and now the kids are available so they can travel, and they visit casinos while the kids do something else. Yeah, or they bring their kids to Reno, Atlantis, and let them play get them started on non-gambling machines that give them a little toy or tickets, and it's quite the thing going on here. And the Texas Tootsie said, my son left Nascala, which is in Texas. Yes, in Texas this morning with $3,500. Wow. Well done. How much did he walk in with? Just kidding. And the comments back and forth. There's nothing more frustrating than to be standing in line behind that person who inserts 10 ticket in, ticket outs one at a time into the redemption machine. Yeah. A question from Trevor. So I live in Nebraska. Nebraska is an interesting state. We have a brand new casino. That's right. It was weird. And then they changed the gambling laws and it's been an interesting experience. And yes, so you know that. Good. Should I get to know this one or drive the hour to another state to get to know them instead? So basically, be aware that Nebraska has a different gaming regulation. They're allowing games that are not going to be in the next state over. And then if the next state over is Iowa, I don't have a map of the country in front of me. Be careful of Iowa because they have a theoretical payout limit that you want to avoid. So it may be that you've seen some of this. So I'm going to go here and I will show you professorslots.com, and I'm going to say online dash resource. And if you go to that, maybe I'll drop it into the live stream. Be careful clicking on anything I put in the live stream, a link I put in the live stream, because you may boot you out of the live stream. So this is where I went. And if you go to, I have slots articles in every state, territory, and our federal district. And if you click on Nebraska, that's there. But if you, and I'll do that. They're all structured similarly, but some sections have a lot more to say and a lot fewer to say. And so these are the casinos in Nebraska. And so yes, be aware that if you want to go to Iowa, that you should check that gambling laws in Iowa here. Because out of the frying pan and into the fire is probably the best way to put that. But let's see, what else do you have that might be good? North Dakota up here, so not South Dakota, not so much. Missouri, you've got some choices. My warning would be watch out for Iowa, because the casinos are very frustrated because the gaming regulations don't allow them to set a winning machine. And it's like, but now, should I get to know this one? And what you need to be careful about in Nebraska is that, as you were asking, is they don't have slot machines, right? They have historic horse racing, which is, they look like slot machines. You can even have poker, video poker, but it's not video poker. It's based on horse races. 34, 40 horse races. Every time you make a bet, every symbol on the reel is the position of the horse at the end of the race, for many different races, many different horses. And any time in the last 100 years here in the United States or the world, because it's based on parimutuel wagering, which is horse racing, and that historical data is used to set the machines. I have found that you can win on them if you play machines by the bar, by a highly visible area. I find that works, but I've never had great success. It was just a little better, where I would be able to cycle my bankrolls, and that's kind of it, but not great successes as I've seen at other casinos. And that's what I have for you about Nebraska. Yeah, I was lucky enough to play historic horse racing machines in Kentucky when I lived in Southwest Ohio, and it was great. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Texas Tootsie says, I was proud of him as he usually gives it all back. He's been pretty lucky. Wins, doesn't leave with his winnings. Yeah, we've talked about that. Congratulations so much to your son. Yep. It's nice. It's nice to have bills to pay, right? Yeah, fur babies. Yeah, the fur babies have calmed down. Let me lean away. Oh, not that way. This way, maybe. Can you see? There's one sitting, lying in the sun. So let's see. questions, lots of comments. I guess people have missed what's going on. So let me look for more comments. Magpie 11 says Vegas seems on the take lately, so I'm doing my $100 per casino to learn, playing smarter. How about you? Fun. And we learned our lesson from January, right? Check for questions, hashtag questions. Yes, I have promotional pens. This is what they look like. They have Professor Slots. I'm a slots enthusiast, and my logo on them. They're gel. You can. This is a soft tip that works on iPhone pads, iPads, and phones, and that's my new promotional item. That I'm carrying around with me. I used to do wristbands, but then I had like 4 different colors, and I never had the right color with me. so now I give out pens, and I got 90 of them recently, and so yes, that's what those are over there. I knew somebody would notice. Yeah, one of the strategies I talk about is to come early the next morning, and I was very concerned about people. Hey, maybe you don't want to get up early. I hate to do this to you, and kind of like Magpie 11's response to coming. I like to sleep, but then there were so many people who were like, "I'm up." Like Chuck, sleep is overrated. Yeah. So I sympathize, Magpie. I'm like that too. Minka is in the house. Hi, Minka. Jojo says, I play at Firekeepers, thinking about going tonight, although I normally like to play Sundays through Thursdays in the wee hours. However, electric roulette is now my new thing. You might want to ask Jason if he's still here. What he might suggest. I think you probably talk to him pretty regularly. Wednesdays at Minnesota casinos, this is good because it's Senior Citizens Day and coincides with people getting their Social Security check. And don't you know it? The casinos actually know such fundamental information. They are not stupid. They do notice these things, and so if you can you might say, well, let's just take their money, then turn it all down. Well, they won't come back. And so what you do is you find the balance. This is what I call casino marketing. You find the balance between between taking their money and not taking so much of their money each time that they don't come back. Yeah. It's the first thing they did when they first opened was, we'll just take their money. They found out how bad that was. I talk about learning the casino. Well, the casino is learning you, learning the people that are locals and what they're going to do, and how many of those people are not from there, who just visit for whatever reason. Cincinnati, not so much, but Las Vegas, oh yeah. And so you have this is part of learning your casino well, and some of these things are going to make it a big difference. Yeah. And there's been some back and forth about taking the time to do winners, to do 2 vouchers. And Texas Tootsie is talking about Soaring Eagle, and Paula is, and let's see. And Magpie is making a comment. These high limit YouTubers are encouraging people to bet higher. Some of the denominations get drained before I get there. Vegas in the winter is hiking season for me. Yeah. It's entertainment. YouTube channels are there for entertainment. They're entertaining you with living vicariously. In Slots Labs, we were looking into brain chemistry. I was summarizing that for everybody as part of one of the lessons, and how is watching somebody spend a lot of money is a vicarious experience as though it happened to you. And this is part of what casinos use to change your brain chemistry and make you all excited and make you more trusting and make you bond with them. And so other slots channels are doing the same thing because that's what we do in slots. And I'm sorry, man, 30 to 50% winnings is what happens when you're doing well. And I have to be the deliverer of the bad news, stripping away the illusion. $300 is what a lot of people have. Maybe someday I'll go up to $500 because I'm trying to learn what to do for you to give good tips on an educational slots channel, mine. But personally, I love high limits. That's where I started, but I don't have to learn it like some people, some of these YouTubers are first time ever doing high limits. No, I cut my teeth on the high limits, and now I'm trying to help the most people with their $300 bankrolls to leave with a couple $100 in return every time. Yeah. Let's see. Magpie says, question, I'm trying to be my test casino for 2-hour periods to observe. Can I make any generalization on time periods for day or week patterns? You can. Maybe I can. In Cincinnati, it's a lot harder because there's one casino downtown, but there's a casino outside of it. And it might matter when the hockey, football, baseball game got out downtown Cincinnati for those two casinos. But as we've talked, Magpie, if there's a rodeo taking place, a huge event, some mega conference, it will, and they get out mid strip from whatever resort is hosting that conference, that will have a major effect on all the casinos that are within a half mile on the strip, right? And probably would affect downtown as well. So you can make generalizations if you think the connection is all the casinos are busy because of this event, or there is no event, which is probably much more rare, perhaps certain times of the year when there's fewer conferences, and that can then become a generalization. So, wow, nothing's going on in Las Vegas. This is what you do. Okay, there's a huge event, 4th of July celebration. This is what you do. And it's a different thing. So the answer to your question is yes. But and for everybody else, if you come back the 1 week later after spotting a win on a machine, play it 5 minutes earlier, and you have better odds, because if that machine was set to win at that time, and it lasts about 4 or 5 weeks, depending if you caught it early, and it doesn't have to be your win, but somebody else's. And as I talk about in that strategy, 1 week later, deja vu method. But not if the week after is Christmas Day, when the week before wasn't Christmas Day. But if you see a win on Christmas Day, and then you come back a week later and it's New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, that's 1 week apart. And then that's like, well, yes, that would be similar. But then 1 week after that would be what, January 6th? And no. So what you're trying to do is match what the casinos recognize as conditions that matter to their financial performance. Hope that helps. Let's see. Chuck is a machine, a human machine. Chuck is amazing. He is amazing. I can vouch for that. And Ed says, I hear what you are saying about stopping the reels has no impact. I do find in Buffalo Gold with 2 coins showing that you seem to be able to catch that last coin for bonus more frequently. Good for you. There are something called advantage plays based on the game how the game is played. That is something that does exist, but that's because it can be things like accumulating a pot from prior plays, and then if it's real, it's not real in Dancing Drums, but it is real in Ocean Magic, where it transfers to the next player. That sort of advantage play exists. Now, I don't know that particular method in Buffalo Gold. I've heard people talk about these things. I will capture that I'll do a screen capture of that so I can check on it. Thank you for suggesting it. And I'll go check to see if Atlantis Casino has Buffalo Gold and do what you suggest. Yeah, I'd like to prove some of these methods are because people play a particular machine a lot. And I've only played Wheel of Fortune a lot, and there's no patterns because I played it a lot. So I haven't played Buffalo Gold ever, I think, but I'll see if there's any available and maybe see if I can play it for 20 minutes and see what happens. I've seen Flip recently, right? It's lots of fun. Yeah, and have anyone seen Flip lately? And Susan says yes, me too. Yes, if you would, please like this stream, this live stream. It is something that the central server of YouTube uses to determine whether or not people get notified that there is a live stream, and that can improve the results. More people coming in, more questions being asked is what I mean. So Steve always likes to use the maximum number of characters, and so he doesn't say question, hashtag question. He says hashtag Q because he wants to get a few more words in. Hey, Steve. How you been? Okay. On a machine like Quick Hits, the bonus lets you pick the amount of spins on the bonus board. Is the win predetermined? Or if I take the 20 spins, better to take over the 5 spins for a larger win? Very specific, playing a particular game called Quick Hits. And so so this is like video poker. You get to choose which cards you keep on the second round before that game ends, right? Does the machine calculate at that time your choice, or was every possible choice that you could have made been what's calculated when you made the bet? When you and so you have to do good accounting on a slot machine. That calculation needs to be done once at the beginning, not modified later, because that's all sort of nightmare accounting methods. Yes, when you make the bet, a calculation was made on what would happen. And if you come to this bonus board, then everything that happened in the bonus board, and you can make some choices sometimes on some of these machines, not just Quick Hits, that choice was also calculated because it doesn't take much to do it, but all of it was done at the beginning. You're just finding out later. Class 2 machines are bingo machines. Some states say that video poker is a Class 2 machine, and so those Class 2 machines, some skill is required. I hope that helps. And I see more comments. Yeah, I played at Derby City. Brent says, yeah, have you played at Derby City in Louisville, Kentucky? I have. I enjoyed it. I went to Red Mile that same day. It's a little bit of a drive, and I didn't get to Oak Grove, and I haven't been to the new ones that opened up. But it was certainly fascinating, and I had a wonderful conversation at Derby City with a floor manager who told me about historic horse racing machines more than I knew, which was that where they started, I think that was what, Alabama? And where are you at? There you are. Was started in Alabama, and that a lot of these companies that are making these machines, you don't have to change the legislature. You don't have to change the gaming regulations if you already have horse racing, because it uses the horse racing gaming regulations. And so that often the barrier to getting in slot machines is terrible, or you have to sign compacts or whatever. But and get gaming regs, and there's lots of arguments. Can take years, as we've all seen, as I write about in my 56 slots articles. But if you already have gaming regulations, then you can get the machines. And so these machine companies, these historic horse racing HHR gaming machine companies are pushing this, and now we find them in Nebraska. They turned up in Kentucky because they had been in Arkansas, and it's just going like gangbusters in Kentucky, a traditionally non-gambling state. Yeah, it's big deal. And that was all from a floor manager that I had a nice conversation with. So you might want to talk to them about what's going on. And they also explained how just 30, 40 horse races, the results of a horse's position in many races of different horses in different races, all of those were used for every symbol on the screen that ended up being on a physical reel or video screen, and that was how they determined the random results of a bet. And I try to tell people slot machines are random, yes, but maybe you need to look into randomness a little bit more for some people. That different games of poker have different game rules, right? Texas Hold'em for what is it? Mississippi Stud. These have different randomness based on game rules, and so it's saying that there's the same randomness. I don't want to get into an old conversation or old argument, but even right there, it's different kinds of randomness exist, and electronics of a slot machine. Yeah, and HHR. Yeah, they're all have their own way of playing. Okay, so Brent, I see. You added a hashtag question. Okay, and extended the question. Also, if I have a $400 bankroll, should I go do high limit, smaller bet, 5 play method? I didn't find the 5 spin method to work great on historic horse racing machines to get tastes, to get wins, but I do find it at every casino, because the 5 spin method only works at 1 in 4 casinos, unless you're in Nevada, where they seem to have chosen to work at every casino. But the returns sometimes are better. But you're at HHR. I did not, for HHR, I did not find Nebraska, Kentucky. I did not find it to make me money, but it did help me to look for a good machine, and that's how I found machines on there's the bar. It was the right side. It was the machine that was closest to the wall. And I just played for like 2-3 hours. And I hope that you like getting comps, getting reward points, because best I've been able to do at Derby City and Red Mile was cycle my bankroll. Okay, Steve has another question. Have you gotten a jackpot at your new how yet? Or just still tasting your methods and strategies? I'm documenting what's going on with my 5 spin method at a new to me casino, which is now my local casino right there. And no, I have not gotten a hand pay, but I have not played high limits here. I've been making minimum bets, and you have to get a pretty high, you can get a hand pay with minimum bets, but it is very rare. And I'm just making 5 bets or less and moving on to the next one. Yeah, I have gotten bonuses. I like those. Let's see, questions. So Jojo is making a commentary about YouTubers can bet higher because their followers send them money, whether the followers want to or not. Just being a viewer will give them a certain amount of money, and if you get a lot of viewers, they see that. So one of the things that, just to give you insight into YouTubers, if you are on YouTube and you are monetized, which means they will give you money because other people will put advertisements on your video. You get a certain amount of money per 1,000 views. If your channel is in a niche about antique socks or gaming, it might be 5 cents, might be 50 cents, might be something like that. It goes from 50 cents to $50. If you're in real estate, then the people who buy video advertisements for your videos will spend more money. And so every niche is different. And so I think it was Lady Luck, was it? That was about a year and a half ago. She posted her numbers or showed her statistics on YouTube, how many views she got. And one of the things that she did not show was how much money she was making. She deliberately blocked it out, how much money she was making with those views. But she did show the number of views. And in our niche, whether it's entertainment or me, education, slots channels, it is $10 per 1,000 views. It's anywhere between 50 cents and $50, depending on which niche you're in. But for slots, it's $10. And so if you look at her screen and you look at how many views she got in a month, she was making $40,000. Only you have to be very careful to not say making it. The income, the revenue was $40,000 per month, but half of that, or a third of that goes to taxes, right? And half of it, not what remains, but half of the total goes back into the machines. And so the whole video was about, I can't give up my day job, because if you do the math, just by knowing what I'm telling you, they won't tell you, but I will tell you, $10 per 1,000 views. That is about $70,000 after taxes, after putting money back into the slot machines. And so that's not enough to give up her day job, which apparently she was making more than that. Yeah. Hard to make a living on YouTube channels. And then since the war in Ukraine, YouTube has been going through some issues. I think it was yesterday, the day before, they monetized shorts. I don't know how much of a YouTuber you are, but that sort of thing is they're trying to challenge TikTok. And yeah, anyway, these are all things I'm looking into to try to have a better YouTube channel in 2023. Always tried to have a YouTube channel. Yeah. Mostly what I'm looking at, Steve, again, you're asking the question, mostly what I'm looking at is getting permission to record, mostly focusing on the business, making a good business here for you guys. I would love to get my views up and get some of my hobbies back. I realized I've given up so many of my hobbies moving to Reno, and so much focused on the business that I need to. Part of what January was is sort of like, self-care, and part of what I like to do is play high limit slots. But of course, I'd want to record them. But that's not the business. That is the entertainment for me. But business is $300 certain times, document everything, write it up, and tell you about it. Thomas says, so today's topic, fell in the trap when I went in Atlantic City, tried all the casinos in one trip. Right? You know what I'm talking about, right? It's just like, what the heck? Even if they're side by side, it's a lot of work. And it's a little obvious, but you don't think of it. Yeah. Do the chances change because there's a crowd? Why play when nobody is there at 4 a.m.? There is reasons for casinos to do this. Is there a crowd? What does the casino? First of all, understand that the casino knows when there's a crowd. They know a week before there will be a crowd. They make an assumption based on the last Friday. That was a snowy day, and the last 15 of them that they had in the last couple of years. They have statistics. They know what's going to happen, or they really do try hard to be successful with that. Sometimes they make mistakes. And so they know do the odds change because there's a crowd? Yes. And they planned that all a month ago, a week ago. It's because they can see it coming, because that's how good they are. Not so much at casinos that are newly opened. So know your casino well. And why would nobody? So there are several strategies to win. And one of the reason to win, to play at 4 a.m. is because there's this accounting practice that some casinos like, where they messed up. The crowd wasn't quite, see how these connect? The crowd wasn't quite what they expected. And they figured out that if they give back too much money, it's a terrible thing for like a week, and it hurts their reputation, hurts the locals, all these things. But if they don't give back enough, if they just hold back just a little bit, that might not even be noticeable for that prior day, just they can fix it by just giving out at 4 o'clock in the morning when they know what they need to do. They can give out a big hand pay and fine tune their finances for the day before. Not every casino does it. Not every casino that does it needs to do it, because they do try to guess right, but sometimes they get it wrong. And this is how they set things up for themselves. And that's why you go at 4 a.m., because it's not anything about it. It's this accounting balance. Yeah. Now this is what I talk about. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, that's how it is in Virginia as well, Trevor. Nebraska has slot machines, and they're putting tables in. Yep. And multi-million-dollar casinos in. Yep. Right now there's they're temporary structures, and there's some casinos in North Carolina that are like that. Yeah. That's how they do it. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Thank you. Hey, Flip is here. Flip is here. Everybody, Flip is here. People were asking, Flip. You're popular. Hi, John. Question. Hi, John. Have you noticed the reels on a slot machine spinning faster in bonus rounds, or is that just me having a long day? Thoughts, advantage or disadvantage? I saw that at Choctaw Durant, where there was like this pause, and then it went into a bonus round. And I'm like, how do I use this to my advantage? I can't. There's kind of signaling whether or not I might get a bonus round after I made the bet. But at that point, I'm along for the ride. And so I've seen many, many things. I haven't talked about many of them, all of them, because so many things are not helpful. But when I find things that make a difference to winning, that's when I talk about it. So yeah, I have seen this. I've seen it on physical real machines. I've seen it on video machines where there's this pause, and that pause is not, that's what's happening. You can't pause a video machine. That is deliberate. And so what do they mean by it? What is it the slot machine manufactured doing by allowing anything like that? You might say it's not really possible. It's kind of like accidental on a real physical real machine. It is not. The reels are not loose. They turn as told. And so I have seen this. I haven't found any advantage to it. I haven't found any disadvantage to it. But that's where it's at. Yeah. Let's see. question, but that is not including what viewers send. Yeah, viewers can send slots channels money, but there are some that do that. They ask for it, karma donations. I don't ask for donations here, but people like to give me donations. They for the value of what I offer, and I appreciate that. Yeah, so there's if you're a salesman, you can get money, but I don't. Please understand that YouTube takes 70% of those gifts. And so if you see, it's not nearly as much as you might think. My Cash App, there's an application called Cash App at Professor Slots. If you use Zelle, it's my email, jon@professorslots.com. And there's 0%. Even PayPal will take a few percent, but YouTube just takes a huge bunch. So it can be, the YouTube channel should tell their viewers that, giving these donations, they don't actually get much of it gets to the viewer, to the creator. But then if they didn't show wins, donations from so many, they wouldn't get so many, if that makes sense. It's all sort of yeah, that's all sort of a way that goes. Table games. I'm not a table game expert. I'm far better with machines than people. Off hours can be an advantage. Yeah. Depending on the games, sure. Steve says, do casino hosts get a commission on high roller play or a percentage back on your card play? That's two very different questions. Do casinos hosts get a percentage back on your card play? No, what casino hosts have told me, my casino host and the senior executive casino host has told me, is they get a good performance review and a better and better performance review if their numbers, their percentage of high limit players that they can get to come back from the casino who are not locals, if they can get them to come to the casino, then that is what they're rated on their performance. Not how much that whale spent, but if they were able to persuade them to come back. Yeah, that's what they told me. Okay. 70% is crazy. Yeah. No, you should see Amazon. It's something similar. It's just like, no, why would there be? Why would there be another option to link to donation? So you have, welcome to YouTube. Now, YouTube has had a couple of changes in the last month that I've been on the notice, and it's interesting. So you can donate directly, but I hate to reduce donations by asking you to go elsewhere. But if you are very comfortable with Zelle, I got a $200 donation yesterday from somebody who enjoyed my work over and above my consultation, and that was very helpful to paying bills. Paid for the pens. So actually that's where that money went. And Jason gave a donation earlier. If you know anything about donations, there's donations and then there's being seen to give donations. And some people are motivated to donate to the arts in order to be seen donating to the arts. If you're and PayPal, Amazon, and a lot of the others have chosen to increase their rates to get more money for this sort of thing because it's happening a lot more. But then there's other companies that say we will make our money in other ways and we will not charge a fee this way, just use our service. And that's, so there's a market, free market. Okay. And that's the, let's see here. So improve your slots play in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. You also get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free to my Slots IQ membership where you'll get community support and accountability. Visit professorslots.com/30 days to learn more about the free bonuses, course content, and the testimonials from participants. And if you're interested, if you've taken that, if you're interested in an advanced course, professorslots.com/SL is where you sign up for the waitlist, which is free. The waitlist is free, and I will notify you first. And when we're full. I won't ask anybody else. But we will see that the second course is coming, and we're in the 4th week of Slots Labs, the first version, and I will be working on today the rest of the video lesson for this week. So that's where that's at. And so, okay, that's it. What a great live stream. You'll see me in my next live stream on Saturday at noon Eastern or in the Pacific time zone, 9 a.m. In the meantime, I highly recommend that you watch this video on how to win a hand pay with only a $100 bankroll. And take care, everybody.